Radio. C81 Radio. C81 Radio. Basta all hits, all Pinoy. Kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan. C81 Radio, C81 Radio. 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 C81 Radio, C81 Radio.
O Diyos, aming Ama, ang lahat ng nilalang ay marapat na sumamba sa iyo. Higit sa iyong mga biyaya, sinasamba ka namin dahil ikaw ay ikaw. Lumalapit kami sa iyo, dakilang tagapaglikha, nagsusumamo at humihingi ng kapatawaran. Kami ay nagkulang at nagkasala. Patawarin mo kami sa katigasan ng aming mga puso. Turuan mo kami at dalhin sa inyong kalooban. Tingnan mo kami ng may awa at kahabagan. Hilumin mo po ang aming bayan, ang aming mga mahal sa buhay, kaibigan, kapitbahay, karatig bayan, ganun din ang aming mga kaaway sa pandemyang kinahaharap namin sa COVID-19. Isama niyo na rin ang mga may sakit sa iba't ibang karamdaman. Panginoon, balutin mo kami ng inyong kaluwalhatian. Itago mo kami sa lilim ng inyong mga pakpak laban sa anumang kapahamakan o wala sa oras na kamatayan. Kristo, ang tinapay ng buhay, alalahanin niyo po ang mga namumuno sa aming bansa, ang mga ilaw at haligi ng bawat tahanan, at mga kawani na nagtatanggol sa aming seguridad at mga frontliners. Batid mo, Panginoon, ang mga dinaraanan at bawat ganap sa aming buhay. Espiritong Banal, aming tanggulan at gabay, imulat ang aming mga mata at ipakita si Jesus ang Panginoon at tagapagligtas, ang nag-iisang katotohanan at tanging daan tungo sa Ama. Wala nang iba. Purihin ka, O aming Diyos. Ang presensya mo ay tunay na biyaya ng aming buhay. Ito ang aming samot panalangin. Sa pangalan ni Jesus, Kordero ng Diyos na nag-aalis ng kasalanan ng mundo. Amen.
Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Isuot na ang mga aprons at mga toque. Hasain na ang mga kutsilyo at mag-Miss on Plus na tayo dahil magsisimula na ang pagluluto natin sa mga balita at istoryang katakam-takam dito sa natatanging programa para sa mga kusinero worldwide. Yes, Chef! Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Hatid sa atin ng Hotel and Restaurant Chefs Association of the Philippines. Kasama ang ating Chief Kusinero on Air na si Chef Gelo Guison at Singer Kusinera na si Chef Chuser Quidlat. Yes, Chef! Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
Good afternoon everyone! Magandang hapon sa ating lahat, sa lahat ng nanonood dito sa Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Ito po ang natatanging programa na ginawa para sa mga kusinerong Pilipino dito man sa Pilipinas, lalong-lalo na sa ating mga OFW kusineros abroad. Ako po ang inyong Chief Kusinero on Air, Chef Gelo Guison. Babatiin ko lamang ang ating mga kababayan ang naimbag nga malang kada kayo aming. Yan, sa ating mga kababayang Ilocano, sa atin namang mga kababayang Kapampangan, Maya pagat panapon kekongan. Ayan, tapos mamaya babatiin ni Chef Chu ang ating mga kababayang Bisaya at mga nanonood sa atin sa Visayas at Mindanao. Good afternoon po, magandang hapon at ito po ang 8th episode ng Yes Chef Balitang Kusinero Worldwide at we are almost 3/4 way or 2/3 way of our first season and it's 102 days before magpasko, 102 days before Christmas at binabati po namin kayo ng maagang Merry Christmas, maligayang Pasko sa ating lahat. Nabanggit ko nga na ito ang ating 8th episode at ang ating 8th episode, ang title natin ay Unpretty. So is it IG worthy or palate worthy? Ibig sabihin, sa panahon ngayon, na lahat kinukunan ng picture, bago kumain ng mga tao, 20 minutes muna nagkukuha na ng picture ng pagkain nila, lumamig na lahat at nalusaw na yung mga ice cream, di pa rin tapos. Ano nga ba? Is taste still the king? Ayan. At mapalad tayo. We're very fortunate this afternoon that we are able to invite and she graciously accepted our invitation. Kasama natin ang isa sa mga naunang celebrity o actress na nagkaroon ng sarili niyang cooking show, ang Spoon sa Net25. At ito talaga inantabayanan ko. I'm a fan. Ako talaga I really look up to her in terms of her style of cooking. Nothing fussy, nothing hoity-toity. It's just downright good quality ingredients and taste. Kaya kasama natin ngayong hapon, palakpakan natin, Miss Janice de Belen. Janice, magandang hapon.
Hello, good afternoon. Hi Chef Gelo.
Hi Janice, kumusta ka?
Hi. Buti naman, good in spite of everything. Everything's okay.
Alright. greet mo naman yung ating mga viewers dito sa Yes Chef Balitang Kusinero Worldwide before we dive right into our conversation.
Yeah, hello everybody worldwide. Hello guys. Hi, it's nice to be here.
Ayan. So, nabanggit ko nga kanina na si Janice ay meron siyang very successful cooking show dati. Tapos yung mga guestings din niya ay pinapanood natin. At yung napansin ko, she's not actually very particular with super elaborate presentation of food. Pero, ingredients-wise, alam mo, inobserve ko nga din, Janice, yung kusina mo. Napaka-utilitarian nung setup. Di ba meron kang
Kailangan.
yung rack na may wheels para nalilipat-lipat mo. Tas almost everything is stainless, so it's not like a studio pang shooting na kitchen, but it's really a functional kitchen. Does
No,
that
it's
also reflect
actually,
your philosophy on food?
um, I guess, yeah. I guess I want everything that I can see so that I use everything para walang, I don't have to disturb people when I need things. I guess with food, it's the same thing. I want something simple, something that you actually will eat and not just stare at. Diba?
Mhm.
Of course, like everyone, I want something Instagrammable. I want my food to be Instagrammable as well. Pero um, if it's going to take too much time to do,
Mhm.
lalamig yung pagkain. So, mas okay na
Na,
sa akin, simple lang and basta masarap. Yun ang importante sa
nasa
akin.
sacrifice naman yung quality ng pagkain dahil ang tagal na daming cheche boreche ganon.
Tsaka siguro kasi hindi din ako magaling sa ganong klaseng pag-setup ng food. Okay? I know the basics. I know what
Mhm.
I can do. I'll stick with what I can do. Yung mga ibang elaborate things, bigay na natin sa ibang mas kaya yun.
Oo. Ako nga actually, yung nakalagay sa Facebook profile ko, I don't cook pretty, I cook delicious. Kasi hindi ko ho talaga strength yung mga landscape na presentation. Alright, so you mentioned, Janice, that when we were talking earlier backstage that you took lifestyle courses and of course you had your formal culinary education. Anong napagtanto mo sa pagkain at sa pagluluto sa lahat ng yun? Parang, what's the bottom line of cooking food?
You cook it for the people you love.
Mhm.
Cooking food is about well, slaving in the kitchen, literally, kasi mainit sa kusina, papawisan ka, kailangan mo mag-clean up, you need to prepare, madudumihan ka. Basically, that's it, you know. My mom, when I was younger and my mom used to cook, I always asked her what was her best ingredient,
Mhm.
why, how she cooked food, ano ba yung ingredient. She would always include love. Every time she would tell us, of course, bata pa kami nun. What did we know? But she would always say love is always a part of the ingredients. Kasi she cooks it for the people she loves. And when you cook for the people you love, naturally, you cook it with love.
Yeah. So, correct. Tapos talagang effort no? Kasi ako, I like cooking like from the start. Yung tipong from the ingredients, I want it being prepared by myself. Kung hindi ko kaya dahil madami, hingi ako ng tulong pero very particular pa din ako dun sa mga instructions para, kasi it's parang yung philosophy ko, parang yung pagkain na ihahain ko ay parang mukha ko. My face is there, so I need to, and 'di ba, parang ganon. So,
That's
ah,
part of the game naman, 'di ba? I mean, that's part of game. The mise en place is very important
mm,
for us chefs. If even ako rin naman, I do my own prep when I can, but I have help who help me kasi there are things na hindi ko talaga gagawin or ayaw kong gawin. Like for
like
example,
what?
chop onions. I hate chopping onions.
Okay.
I hate chopping
Okay.
onions. Hanggang kaya ko, I won't chop onions.
Alright. If kunwari merong very novice na gusto magluto. As in yung tipong parang nung nagbigay ng talent sa pagluluto, tulog siya. Ano yung maa-advise mong dish na lutuin niya na tipong yung mga taong papakainin niya, mapapawaw pero kaya naman niya?
Well, for a start, kasi like me, I don't measure. I don't measure. Everything is by by feel, by taste.
Intuition.
Oh yeah, kasi after a while, madali na, kaya mo na mag-eyeball ng measurements eh. Of course, that takes a lot of time, experience, and probably like 100,000 dishes first that you've cooked. So, ako, masasabi ko, if you're a novice, and talagang novice ka at hindi ka marunong, I would say, pick a cookbook that you think will work for you, and then pick a recipe from the cookbook that you think you'd be comfortable working with, and stick to it first. Stick to it first. As in talagang by the last
To the
grain,
T.
stick to it first, di ba? And then pag nalasahan mo at nagustuhan mo, try cooking it again and cooking it again until you're very comfortable moving in the kitchen, tasting your food and cooking before you can start moving to other dishes or more complicated dishes. I think that's how you should start first. After a while, pag nakuha mo
pag
na
ikaw
yung
tinanong
pamate,
ka, Miss Janice, magluluto po ako first time. Ano pong pwede kong lutuin?
I will tell you the same thing. I'll tell you the same thing.
Nagtatanong siya ng dish?
Yeah, I'll tell you the same thing. Kasi ikaw ang makaka-determine kung anong komportable ka eh.
Kung anong
Pag
kaya
nakita
mo.
kasi kahit sabihin ko sa'yo magluto ka ng pasta, there are many steps to cooking pasta because you need to cook your noodles, your pasta noodles. Paano kung hindi ka marunong mag-cook ng pasta noodles mo? O, di ba? What if you don't know? Kasi pasta is timing. It's all about timing. Pasta, including the sauce, is all about timing, di ba? So, kung hindi ka komportable doon, stick to something that ikaw mismo, pag binasa mo yung recipe, you think kaya mo.
Alright. How about, anong dish yung kaya mong lutuin even in your sleep?
Madami na rin kasi I also sell food. So, the food that I sell, syempre kahit tulog ako, kaya ko na siyang lutuin in my sleep.
Ano ba? What's your bestseller ba?
I have different things eh. I have pork buns. Well, they're technically pork bows, but I call them pork buns because I serve them with steamed buns. So, yon, one of my bestsellers, Kalyos, lasagna, wow, ang dami ko na rin ginagawa. So, madami na rin. So, feeling ko yung mga madalas kong, yung mga niluluto ko, I probably can cook them while I'm asleep.
Kasi paulit-ulit. Advice mo sa mga nagfo-food business ngayon. Kasi all of a sudden, dahil sa pandemic, everyone's selling. Everyone's, doing their own business from their own kitchen. What could you tell them?
I know quantity is the best. True. Masarap sanang magbenta ng madami, but I think quality is just as important. So, hindi na baling makabenta ka ng 20 lang, but as long as the quality is good. Yun lang.
So,
yun lang
talagang
yung that's just really
huwag
mine.
mag-sacrifice yung quality dahil gusto mong mag-mass produce.
Oo. Syempre, mahirap mag-mass produce. Masarap mag-mass produce. But kagaya ko, I cannot do mass production as in mass production because I do everything at home. And I work with a very controlled number of people lang. Mostly, it's just me. If at all, siguro, madami na yung 4 kami. So, I
Janice,
do a lot of prep.
So, celebrity ka. But, do you eat in turo-turo?
Yes, I do. I can eat anywhere. It doesn't bother me. I have no problems.
Yung tipong mga pares sa retiro, ganyan.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me. I eat anywhere.
Because I'm just gonna say this, ha. My mother, growing up, is watching you in Flor de Luna. Tapos, of course, our generation, inabutan ka din. So, you are a star. And, you know how it is here in the Philippines. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're in the States, eh. Or like, I don't know, in other Asian countries, but in the States, you can see like, even celebrities eating in hot dog, yung mga hot dog vendors in New York, ganyan. But that's your stature here, and you can do that. You're okay in doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I go to the Visoria. I go to the market if I have to. I don't have a problem. It's not a stature. Being an actress, it's not a stature. To me, it's just a job.
It's a craft.
So when you wake up, you're still a person. The only thing setting me apart from other people is because my job is different. But we're just the same. At the end of the day, we're all equals.
That's nice to hear. Uh, I know you have to leave, and I'm giving
Yeah.
myself the last 3 minutes. Uh, you think yung discipline and yung, kasi 'di ba medyo rigorous ang pagluluto lalo na kung gusto mong masarap eh. May nakakaapekto ba dun yung training mo din as an actress? Kasi 'di ba sabi, ang artista hindi ka binabayaran para umarte. Binabayaran ka para magintay na matake ka. Tapos yung pag-arte at mabigyan ka ng recognition, parang bonus na yun. Tama ba yun?
Hindi naman. I wouldn't say most of your pay is just for waiting. Of course, it has to be for your talent, di ba?
Okay.
Discipline, the discipline started with me bata pa ako. Ang disiplina ko sa maraming bagay, bata pa ako. It started na because I started acting when I was 9 years old.
Mhm.
Second, the discipline I learned from my parents. Plus, siguro, all the experiences, you learn things. It helps in everything. Same thing, patience, punctuality, all of these is very important to me. And part of that is the discipline that I apply to my discipline when I'm in the kitchen. When I was in culinary school, I was very punctual. Pag sinabi mong 9, 9 nandyan ako. Pag sinabi mong I can go at 11, I leave at 11.
Mhm.
So
So
to me,
talaga
that's
it will
important.
take you places, no?
Yes, discipline is very important. Lalo na sa kitchen. Like, sa kitchen, di ka pwedeng umupo-upo. Kailangan nakatayo ka the whole time. Alam naman, ikaw
Mhm.
upo-upo habang everybody else is standing. So, yeah, I think I got my back problem from that.
Mhm. Tapos,
So,
panghuli lamang. So, both of us, we had our previous jobs and careers before we went into sa pagkukusina bilang mga kusinero at kusinera. There is that 25-year-old yuppie, young urban professional, na confused ngayon kasi talagang ang puso niya nasa pagkukusina. Pero meron siyang stable job, meron siyang karera na nagbibigay at puts food on the table, pays the rent. What would you tell that young urban professional?
well, keep your day job. Keep your day job and try selling food online first and see how it works for you. I mean, it doesn't mean that just because you have a day job, you can't cook anymore. Of course not. Of course not. It's not true. If you can handle doing both, um, ako, basta for me, right now, in this season, at this time, keep your day job, then try online cooking. Maybe in the week, try cooking for people online, sell it first. Uh, let's see how it turns out, and then you can decide.
All right.
Diba? Pero ako
With
at the
that,
moment, keep your day job.
with that,
Kasi
Janice, thank you
mahirap
very,
kasi.
very much.
Mhm.
Sana mapagbigyan mo ulit kami sa susunod at lilinawin ko na sana mas mahaba tama yung oras na ibibigay ko sa'yo. Nagkalituhan po kami doon sa oras. But I hope you can join us again in the future.
Sure, sure, sure.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Just nice being
Ayan
on
po.
the show.
Sa ating mga viewers, we need to cut this short. Janice is another engagement to get to. But magbabalik po tayo dito sa Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Ang natatanging palabas na ginawa para po sa mga kusinerong Pilipino dito man sa Pilipinas o sa abroad. Brought to you by the Hotel and Restaurant Chefs Association of the Philippines.
Thank you.
Babalik
Thank
po
you. Nice
tayo.
to be here. Bye-bye.
Magbabalik ang Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide. ka na ba? Para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits, just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O di ba madali lang, kaya i-like at i-follow na. Third month na! Maaga ang pamasko na hatid sa inyo ng Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2 ngayong September. Powerhouse OPM artists from Viva Records ang makakakwentuhan at kantahan ni Papa Gio, Janine Tinioso, Marion, Michael Keith, and Joe E. Kaya wag nang magpahuli. Tumutok na every Wednesday at 7 p.m. California time or Thursday 10 a.m. Philippine time. Kasama ang inyong maestro, si Papa Gio sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Kabayan, nahuhumsik ka ba? I-download na ang aming mobile app at mag-enjoy sa mga kantang tatak Pinoy and feel like you're home. The V81 Radio mobile app, available in the App Store and Google Play Store. V81 Radio mobile app, free now, free forever. Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.
Balikan na natin ang Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
Nagbabalik po tayo dito sa Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide at nakasama nga natin sa ating first segment, sa ating segment na What's Cooking, si Janice de Belen. So, she's an actress and she cooks. She went to culinary school and she's now selling her food online. Also, sabi niya sa mga nag-iisip kung gusto na talaga nila i-pursue yung pagluluto nila, keep your day job now right now, pero continue cooking as well. At yung philosophy niya sa food, not so much about presentation, but taste is still the king. Actually, itong dalawang konsepto naman na ito ay hindi dapat nagtutunggali. Dapat ito ay balance, hindi ba? There should be a balance between the taste and how the food looks like. Kasi ang sabi nga, ang unang kumakain ay ang ating mga mata. At para sa ating segment, makakasama natin dalawa industry leaders pagdating sa food photography and food styling dito sa ating second segment na What's Cooking. At Kitchen Talks pala, sorry. Sa ating second segment na Kitchen Talks. At dahil dyan, ipapakilala na natin ang ating mga guest. Ang una nating guest, food photographer, who's been doing a really, really good job in producing quality food photos. Palakpakan natin ang ating master food photographer, Mr. Hans Fausto. Hi Hans, magandang hapon.
Hi, grabe naman, master food photographer, di naman.
Siyempre. How are you, Hans?
It's nice. I'm good. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be able to be here. Hindi ako sanay na nasa harap ako ng camera, usually nasa likod ako. So, it's a first for me, but thank you.
Thank you for gracing us. So Hans, I I learned about him in one of his videos in Let's Eat Pare. I think you were showing some tips on food photography. Ayan. At kung
Yeah.
kayo po ay interested na malaman kung paano nga ba, what's the art and science behind the food photography, then perfect yung ating discussion ngayong hapon. Ayan, Hans, bago natin pakilala yung isa pa nating guest, maybe a short introduction about yourself. How did you get into food photography? Was that your course in college? Have you been interested about food photography ever since? So a bit of brief background about you.
Okay. Actually, before I got into food photography, I took up culinary and I worked in the kitchen. So I studied in the International School for Culinary and Hotel Management, ISCAM for short, in
Ice cam.
Katipunan. And I worked in their restaurant, Aubergine, for a little less than a year. Tapos I transferred. I worked in this cafe in Ateneo, and I thought it was good management experience, even if I didn't have. But I got burnt out, and that because of that, I ended up thinking na parang, photography was my hobby then. So what if I pursue that and I
Mm-hmm.
combine my love for food and my love for photography? So I studied in Binild after that, photography, and I worked some assisting jobs, and eventually I am where I am now. So I've been shooting food. I specialize in food, but I shoot other things than naman. But food pa rin is my love. So that's where I am now.
All right. Um, and is that your full time job right now?
Yes, it's my full time. I have like a handful of clients na naman, and I shoot for digital publications like Spot.ph regularly. Pero in this pandemic now, parang medyo malabo siya.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
All right. Thank you, Hans. Babalikan kita. I'll get back to you. Pakilala lang
sure.
natin yung isa pa nating guest. So, our next guest also is working in the industry right now as a food stylist and prop stylist, which when you look at her Happy Tummy Travels
Yeah,
page in Instagram, really, really good um, composition sa kanyang mga photos. Sobrang
I agree.
appetizing nung actually eto you know me, to our audience, you know me very well. I mean what I say and I say what I mean. So may ni-refer sa akin dalawa na food stylist. Tapos sabi, ito, tapos yung isa, sabi ko, I prefer our guests aesthetic. And it's just me, ah. I prefer her aesthetic because medyo parang hindi ko kasi gusto yung masyadong manicured na aesthetic. Yung parang ayaw mo nang kainin yung pagkain. Yung
Di ba
pang
parang sa kanya
commercial.
sobrang natural, di ba?
Rustic, real, pero pero maganda. So,
Uh,
without further ado, sa atin pong mga nanonood, palakpakan po natin Miss ChiChi Tullao. Hi ChiChi, magandang hapon.
Hi,
Hi,
Chichi.
grabe naman yung Hi, everybody. Hi, Chef Gelo. And hi, Hans.
Hello.
Chef Gelo, thank you for inviting me in your show. Very honored to be here.
Nako, salamat. Salamat sa inyong dalawa. Alam niyo ho, I have a very because I getting into this show. I also produce the show content-wise. Ha?
Wow.
So, technology-wise, V81 yan. Sina Robbie, sina Sir Miguel. Pero content-wise, ako yung nagpo-produce. Tapos, hindi ko alam na medyo ganun pala siya ka-tedious na pag weekly yung show, kuwari matatapos tayo ng Sunday, di ba? Kailangan Tuesday. So, meron na akong list ng episodes. Pero yung tipong Tuesday, kailangan ko maghanap na ng guest,
Content.
ganon, content.
Okay.
Hindi lang naman ito
Hirap.
yung ginagawa ko. So anyway, so thank you sa short notice at pagpapaunlak nyo sa amin. So, Chichi, like what Hans did, a bit of a brief background on how did you get into food styling and food photography and prop styling?
Okay. Basically, for everybody, I'm actually before. I don't know if Hans knows the story, but I only
Yeah, I know
started
that
with
na.
food styling around 2014, but I was doing it part time. I'm
Mm,
actually I worked in the bank for the entire duration of my time, I was actually, my course was Management in Financial Institution in De La Salle University. And basically,
Nako,
I
mga
was really in
taga-Lasal
that.
pala tong kasama ko.
Hindi. Pero, basically, yung thinking ko noon, syempre, di ba, corporate world, from the
Oo.
ground up, corporate world, yan. So, I was handling government bonds, handling, ibang world
Yikes.
from what I do now. But my love for food has started with my mom when she was still alive. I have been immersed with what she does. She was actually a baker too. And then at the same time, she always immersed me with cookbooks. That's actually my parang first things that I've learned even since young. I was young. Like I helped her bake, I helped her cook. We are also kapampangan. So food
Ah,
is always the
Manyaman.
money.
yeah.
Oh, the food is always the talk of every dinner conversation. So it's always there, and I love food. We love eating. So Happy Tummy Travels was born, and then eventually I did stuff na first. I mean, I don't know if Hans that you did this on your when you were starting with photography. Pero I was styling for free, just for, the knack of it. It's not even something that I was thinking of doing yet. But
Yeah.
basically, it started there, and then I went to New York to study course food styling.
Oh, you did.
From
Yes,
from
I
where?
did.
Parsons?
No, in ICC, and then other than that, I also did courses while I was there in two magazine companies. So it was more editorial, mga cookbook. So what they
Yeah.
do is invite cookbook writers who publish their own books, and then they're a food stylist and even photographers. So parang the the things that I've learned in school was more practice during the special courses
Wow.
with those chefs. Oh well, with those cookbook authors. So sobrang
Pero
happy, and
in
then
New York,
yun.
you enrolled yourself. It wasn't a
Yes,
scholarship.
That's
yes, I was still in
galing.
banking. Can you believe? I was still working.
Wow.
So so
Ibig
medyo
sabihin, you have money to
bumabalik
pay for
ako.
the tuition.
No, it was like
Siyempre banking eh.
parang it
Oo.
was it was an investment on my end. So,
Uh-uh.
parang I don't know, it's more of kasi I was dabbling with food styling na in this time. I think it was 2016 I was eventually went to New York for studying talaga. And then I said, I paid for this, maybe I have to resign. I don't know, it was more of it parang ano na ba, mag-resign na ba ako or
Wait,
to
would
continue
you
with the
be able to
weekends
share
lang?
to us how much you paid for tuition? Para dun sa mga gustong mag-enroll.
Ayan na.
Mapag-ipunan
Okay, hindi ko
nila.
masasabi hindi ko na maalala yung tuition ng school, pero I think the short courses was around 2 weeks lang, 70 per course. Around 70,000 per
Pesos.
And
special.
that's just the
Yes.
course, no? Wala pa yung travel and your
Wala pa.
accommodation.
But
That
no,
was the special courses in I did one in Sunday Suppers. That's a magazine cookbook kind of and that was how much I had to spend for just a short course to be able
Wow,
to
that's a
be
heavy
witnessing
investment.
yung cookbook author kasi it's I need to make sure that I know also what I'm
yeah.
doing, like I'm trying to be get paid commission projects, so I also want to make sure that it's authentic, like I have a
Yeah,
little bit
quality
of basics
education.
man lang. Yes, so investment yon before even jumping na to
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm in now. So happy enough 2017, and then 2 years na 2020 na. So na-ex kasi sa akin ng
Pero
2020 anyway.
pero yung work mo sa bank continuous pa no na.
No na. So I work full-time food styling and prop styling for almost 2 years. I jumped into it 2017. So, but I was doing
Wow.
really food styling since 2014, but I studied it 2016 just so to formalize everything. Kasi, syempre, di ba, if you wanna pursue something and you wanna make
Dapat
sure you're
legit.
you're doing it right, medyo we have to make it more legit and
Yeah,
kaya
yeah, yeah.
to professionals like the chefs
Correct.
and the photographer. They've also have their as they say, their knives, their skills,
Yeah.
their
Oh my god,
experience. So that's
I'm so
also
happy that we're talking this afternoon because we actually kind of have the same stories, the three of us. Like we
oh
were
my
doing some
oh my
stuff
god, it's
before.
destined.
Before
Yeah,
culinary.
because I used to work for a healthcare company as a training
Oh
professional for 10 years before I
wow,
quit last
Wow.
year to be a cocinero. So,
good
so,
job.
Galing.
Congratulations for
pero,
taking the
no,
job.
yeah, no, but tingin ko, it's our responsibility also to tell our viewers, everyone who's watching right now, that um, pursuing your passion, 'di ba? Is a privilege, comes with privilege. Because kung ano ka, kung breadwinner ka, tapos meron kang 8 to 5 job, hindi naman parang practical na, oh, I'm gonna quit my 8 to 5 job para mag-pottery. Tapos, di ba?
Yeah.
No, di ka ba rin saying? So it's not,
Yes.
let's not romanticize it. It's good. It is also, kasi di ba everyone's saying, ay grabe the courage, grabe yung drive to follow your passion. Yes, however, money matters, but it's we're blessed that we were able to do that. Siguro napaghandaan lang,
Yeah.
nakapag-ipon,
And
ganon.
Yes,
timing din
ipon,
talaga eh.
timing. Yes.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was. I think it's just the right time for each of every one of us for
Yeah.
Diba?
jumping on our.
That's
Yes.
true.
So, we are one tribe. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Dapat yata
This
gumawa tayo ng parang
segment for
collective, like
passion project. I'm kidding.
passion project collective,
Passion.
gano'n. Or first PPC, pursue your PYPC, pursue your
Pursue
passion
your
collective.
passion.
Anyway, all right. So, um talaga naman, 'di ba? I mean, kahit anong sabihin natin na masarap 'yan. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
backgrounder, yung pagkaing Pinoy, unlike the Western way of presenting food, medyo late tayo eh. Doon sa
Yeah.
food presentation kasi our culture of eating and consuming food is talagang family
Yeah.
style. So hindi tayo yung plated, so
Yes.
nakabandehado, ganyan. So hindi kailangan nung ganong um mga landscape sa plating kasi syempre family style ka, nakabandihado. However, when we are trying to quote and quote elevate or put finesse in food presentation, especially if you are running a restaurant, so pumasok yun. And in this day and age of social media, syempre, napakahalaga nung itsura ng pagkain mo na makikita online. Right? So, gawin lang natin yung mga questions ko, halinhinan yung pagsagot.
Sure.
Sige.
ChiChi, how would you, in a, in 2 to 3 sentences, if you're going to tell me, what's your, it's aesthetic?
Okay. Aesthetic. For me, I think because sometimes in menus we're all consumers. We buy what we look for from fast food to normal restaurant, and sometimes if you don't know what the food is, you need the photo because to
Yeah.
understand more about it. And aesthetic is from that for my point of view is that photo pa lang should be able to inspire or parang matakam ang mga
Mm-hmm.
tao with that photo because at the end of the day, if nawala yung attention nila with it and just reading it through, then they
Mm-hmm.
won't order it. They won't even see it. Lalo na now,
Yeah.
we're in this time of it's hard to dine in yet. So
Mm-hmm.
the first way to do it is for your photo or the image to talk about your food, and then of course the caption. Pag nakita nila na sobrang nakakatakam and nakita nila na it's something that worth their money, of course, hindi naman tayo pwede mag basta-basta na lang because there's no point of other selling rather than just with the images, right? So that's my point of view of an image aesthetic, and it has to be still natural. It should be natural still. The food should be the hero. There's not so much props because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes para nakakalimutan na ng tao bakit may mga raw mats masyado doon. Are we doing a cookbook ba? Or are we
Yeah.
doing the dish? You know what I mean? Kasi minsan isipin mo rin the 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 photo or the food and the picture needs to have a story. And that everything in that image should just show up in one photo.
Right, right. Okay,
Yeah.
how about you, Hans?
Ako, same eh. My approach then is, kasi having the background of someone who cooks in the kitchen, um, parang since I know how to plate, since I know how to prepare food, parang the way I shoot food is, it should reflect how it tastes, or at
Yes.
least in the situation it's served. So like,
Mm-hmm.
let's
Yes.
say you cook something very traditional Filipino, you make sure that the photograph is gonna like reflect siguro like lutong bahay, or something like in a more natural place. Kasi ako, I'm not so fond of like putting so many flowers in the.
Yes.
I
Ah,
mean, it's a very common trend.
makapaglagay
Laging,
lang ng mga dried flowers sa gilid.
oo, 'di ba?
Ganon.
Yes.
And 'di ba? It's nice for some things, but not everything, 'di ba? And
Exactly.
it's ano pa, like parang si ChiChi, I met ChiChi when I was assisting for this very good photographer, Toto Labrador. 'Di ba? So, parang I picked up the way he shoots also. It's very natural. It's very parang walang it's not super styled. Though I have shot some things like that, but yung pagkaano nun, it's ano na, it's parang you're selling more a theme na or a feeling
Yes.
rather than the food itself eh. So, yeah, pero I would prefer talaga like parang pagkaluto, lapag, and just like simple things lang, fork, spoon, a little cloth, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
ganun yung mas gusto ko.
All right. We are going to dig deeper in the art and science of what they're doing one by one.
Oh no.
After this break, magbabalik po tayo dito sa Yes Chef,
Okay.
Balitang Kusinero
Okay.
Worldwide.
I need your consent on a few items to continue.
Huh.
Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O, di ba madali lang? Kaya i-like at i-follow. Per month na, maaga ang pamasko na hatid sa inyo ng I'm Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2 ngayong September. Powerhouse OPM artists from Viva Records ang makakakwentuhan at kantahan ni Papa Gio, Janine Tinioso, Marion, Michael Keith, and Joe E. Kaya wag nang magpahuli. Tumutok na every Wednesday at 7 p.m. California or Thursday 10 a.m. Philippine Time. Kasama ang inyong maestro, si Papa Gio sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Are you ready to explore new kind of music? Yung bang na hindi mo pa napapakinggan, mga bagong artist. Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio. Download mo na for free. Now na. Balikan na natin. Yes, Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
And we're back dito sa Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Ang pinag-uusapan natin ngayon hapon, kanina ay nakasama natin si Miss Janice de Belen at ang kanyang philosophy on food, on how, what's her philosophy. So sa kanya, taste pa din ang namamayani. However, we are in the day and age of social media and everything is visual. So mayroon tayong need to actually, especially if you're starting a business, presenting our food to our consumers in a delectable, yung nangungusap agad yung pagkain at sinasabing masarap siya pag tiningnan pa lang. We have two of our guests this afternoon, master food photographer Hans Fausto and food stylist extraordinaire ChiChi Tullao. Pero kay Hans muna tayo. Hans, I know that you have prepared some photos and images. Could you walk through us how you decide on the composition? Ano ba yung stories behind do sa mga photos na isi-share mo, na ano ba yung naging inspiration mo para lang, at syempre yung mga tips natin sa food
Yeah.
photography. Tapos pupunta tayo kay ChiChi naman later para doon naman sa food styling. Kasi a food photographer and a food stylist should work hand in hand. Hindi pwedeng di ba?
Clash.
Yes.
Naghahampasan kayo ng
Oo,
kawali
yeah.
sa ulo, di ba? Alright, so Hans, please take it away.
Okay. So I want to share first like yung my most natural shooting style. So naturally like kasi um my most common when I would shoot, I would usually go to the restaurant of the my clients. Tapos
Mhm.
I'd bring some a little materials lang like siguro like mga fake na wood. I mean, I don't have the same props and stuff as ChiChi, super extensive. And ako like simpleng surface lang or minsan table lang eh. And just siguro like since it's in a restaurant I would just take a picture of it on the restaurant table and how it's served. So um what I do is I need to find a way to make it look syempre nakakatakam. And for me to do this, I don't like faking the food so much. So I try
Mhm.
to find ways to show na hey, this food looks good. So the way I do this is I try to make food look like I focus the attention of the photo sa details.
Mhm.
So I use like ito, I'll show you an example. Let me share my screen. Let's see. Yeah, let's see if this works. Yeah. I shot this for Nuki, Churros and Gelato in MOA. And if you look at it, it's simple lang eh. Churros lang siya. Pero you see like the snow of sugar and parang when
Yeah.
you look at it parang ay wow, ang tamis niya, ang lutong niya tingnan. And it's so parang yung the way I light also, I try to make it as natural as possible, at least as natural looking as possible. Pero may flashes ako dito because it's the most inviting way to parang evoke a
Yeah.
comforting feel. So parang when people see this, ay wow, churros,
And
parang
I get
sarap
what you're
i-pair with
saying.
kape.
Parang looking at it, parang na-imagine ko how crispy it is from the outside,
Yeah.
tapos
Yeah, 'di
soft
ba?
inside, tapos perfectly browned, tapos alam ko na malalasahan ko din yung tamis and makakagat ko yung mga sugar granules.
Yeah, 'di ba? So parang
I want.
Yun ba yung narrative nung nung
'di ba
photo?
kuhang-kuha mo eh. Exactly. Like what Chichi said before na when you style also, when you take photographs, there always has to be a story behind it. And ito, let me share another photo. Wait lang ha. Let me look for it. Yeah, this one. This one I shot. This was an assignment for Spot.ph, Hong Kong little kitchen sa
What's
may
that?
that's duck,
Duck.
roast
Yeah.
Okay.
duck, 'di ba?
Is
Oh yeah,
that
si Chichi.
plum sauce? Plum
Yes,
sauce on that.
exactly. 'Di ba? So, um initially you'll be like, "Oy," when you might not know what it is exactly, pero you're like, "Oy, it's chicken or it's meat that's just being dipped in the sauce and parang wow, ang juicy niya tingnan."
Yeah.
'Di ba? And parang from that alone, parang alam mo nang masarap eh. Kahit hindi mo pa alam exactly what it is. 'Di ba? Si Chichi, I mean, she seems familiar with it. 'Di ba? Plum sauce
Pero
agad sabi niya. So,
Hans, my question here is,
yes.
technically, kunwari, anong lighting mo dito? Ano ang yung mga gano'n, baka kasi may mga nanonood sa atin na, Hans, you talk about it naman as if it's so easy. Kasi syempre, you've been doing it for quite some time. Pero kunwari, like, itong composition na to, itong photo na to, paano lighting mo dyan?
Um,
Aperture? Wow, aperture,
Usually,
parang may
when
alam.
it when it comes to settings of the camera, dapat you have to ano talaga, you have to experiment with it eh. Pero when it comes to lighting, um, what I do is I try to think na parang if this was in a natural setting, where will be where will the window be? Parang ganun. I just pretend that there's a
Mm-mm.
window, and that's where I put my light. So if you look at the photo, you're gonna see na you can tell where the light is by looking at the shadows. So you can see that the light is on the right side because the shadow is falling on the left side,
Mm-hmm.
'di ba? And minsan when you do that with a normal light, medyo madilim sa kabilang side. So I put like siguro kahit illustration board lang or kahit konting papel just to mitigate that shadow para lang it softens it. So you come out with a photo like this,
Is that
'di ba?
what you call diffusing?
Yes. Yeah, no. Diffusing is when 'di ba like
When you put parang a tela or papel.
when you put tela. So it diffuses the light. Parang kumbaga it's like when you see
Ah,
clouds blocking the sun, it nagkakaroon ng overcast, so nagiging
mm-hmm.
softer yung ilaw.
Okay.
What I did with the illustration board is basically I'm reflecting that light para lang the shadows are softer and
Mhm.
the usually
Okay.
the whiter or more reflective the surface is, mas liliwanag yung reflection mo. So I
Yung
just
iba
use,
nga,
yun
di
nga.
ba, Hans, bond paper lang.
Oo,
Oh,
ganun ako.
Ginaganon yung bond paper sa gilid.
Oo, exactly. So I always have illustration boards sa bag ko whenever I'm shooting. Tapos like clips lang. Tapos yan, tabi ko lang siya. And that's how it's going to look. Tapos yun nga, parang ito, sa drip, timing lang talaga yan. Um, you just, kahit sa phone, kaya to eh. If you go outside, if you take photos outside, if the sun is too stark, lagyan nyo lang ng ano, siguro kung may puti kayong tela, or kahit papel lang na malaki, it's gonna diffuse that light and it's gonna even it out like this.
Alright.
Tapos I'll show you something different naman. Kasi this one, if you look at the light, medyo maaliwalas pa siya eh. It's a bit bright. It's parang in a very, how do I say this? Naturally lit setting. What I'm gonna show you next is something a bit darker. Let me look for it. Ito.
Ako pa naman ganyan ang aesthetic ko. Yung medyo
Ito.
dark.
This is a dark ano.
may cinematic approach. Yes.
'di ba? So this one naman, I shot this for the grid in Rockwell.
Mm.
So they serve tantan men and tsuke men. And ito yung brand nila. I shot it dark because it's part of their branding eh. So ito, yung mga little details like this, I divert from my natural way of shooting. And 'di ba, syempre as a photographer, we have to be able to cater to our clients. And since this is their kind of branding, I shoot dark for them. So here, what I did is I also put a light on one side, pero I didn't ano anymore. I didn't reflect it. So if you look at the shadows, it's darker, 'di ba? And what helps in the cinematic look of it is I used a you know the bowls, the what the food is in, it's very dark also. Pati yung surface na yan. Yung surface na yan, papel lang yan eh. Na nabili ko sa Shopee. But it looks like parang concrete, very
Oo nga.
Yeah.
grungy, ano. Oh, di ba?
Para siyang ano ang tawag dun? Yung countertop ng mga
Industrial. Yeah.
Industry. Oo, yeah. Parang,
oo.
parang ganon. So,
Parang
um,
granite.
yeah, exactly. Parang granite yung ano niya. So, when ako, I would shoot like this if I want to emphasize the colors of my food. So, ayun nga, as you can see, the tantalum is so bright red. Tapos may cheese dip din. And you can see yung little green. So, in that sense, parang maganda nga yung cinematic feel, but it only supports, parang it's a supporting thing lang to the way that the food looks. So, at the same time, parang you're helping the food emphasize itself then. Di ba? Tapos, I'm gonna show you another thing naman. Now, um, another approach that people can do with food is you add a human element to it. So
Kamay-kamay, ganyan.
exactly. So
Yes.
here is something na I shot this for Spot.ph also. I was shooting Sensei Sushi in the South, sa BF Homes. And this kamay to ni Bruce Ricketts. And he was preparing sushis for us. And parang ako, I like the way he handles food because since Japanese trained siya, he's very gentle with his food, he's very gentle with the ingredients. And you see it eh. Nakikita mo sa ano niya, sa preparations niya and how he serves his food. So when I took this photo, parang it was like a nice representation of what he does and how he does it. And when you add a human element to shooting food, parang it gives more familiarity na parang, hey, wow, parang sobrang meticuloso yung pagka-prepare nito so you know your food is in good hands or your food good hands no pun anyway. So it's prepared professionally, it's prepared na parang you just know na it's made well or made with love or
Mhm.
ano, so that's what the human element does.
Pero Hans, when you shoot, like ilan ang ilaw mo on a
That
regular
depends. That
basis?
depends also. This one, I just shot this using natural light kasi the light in the restaurant was just, it was maganda na eh. So this is just a naturally lit, ano, ambient light lang. Wala akong dalang ilaw dito. Aside, compared to the others that I showed, yon I used my
Okay.
light. Tapos ito, I'll show you another one na walang kamay pero there's like a movement. Wait lang, let me look for it. 23. Yeah, this one. This one, I shot this for Fireside in Rockwell. Now, it's simple, and the wooden elements in the picture help parang set the scene. So parang may steak,
Mhm.
may wine, so parang naisip ko, ay wow, date. And yes, parang ganun nga yung theme ng photo because I shot this for I think a Valentine's promo. So like you get like a free glass of wine or something when you order a steak. And this one naman, so this photo naman, instead of focusing on the food, it focuses on parang a theme which is like yun nga, the moment you see it, parang ano maiisip mo dito? 'Di ba like date or
Yeah.
like may class, 'di ba?
Actually, it's
Sorry.
romantic but not
Yeah.
in a powdery flower way.
Yeah.
Yes. And
You
I
get
Diba
what
like
I
parang
mean?
the liquid, the
yeah,
flow of the
'di ba?
liquid if you see it.
Sobrang sobrang
So,
chamba ng shot na yan. Like ilang ulit namin ginawa yan. Pour, sige, pour ulit.
Oo.
'Di ba?
that's super
And
nice.
hey, thank you. And then um I don't usually go into super styled shoots, pero syempre I have to do it because then well, syempre it's good practice for me also to go into something different. So this one, let me show you. Let's see this one. Where is that? Ito, this one. Yan. Now this is a product shoot I did for Epic Spice.
Mm-hmm.
Now I hope some of the guys from the Philippine Hot Sauce Club are
Hassas
watching.
Club, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
PHSC.
So they were kind enough to send this to me to shoot. They also sent the toys. So parang sobrang funny kasi 'di ba it's a kaiju hot sauce. So I'm like, okay, paano ko papaglaruan to? So
Kaiju, di ba yun yung sa Pacific Rim?
yeah, oh, so monsters. So so
Oh,
kulit
that's
may
why. Okay.
yeah, so tas may Ultraman pa sa likod and wala lang, I was just playing around with it. Tapos my son was running around. Parang, Papa, can I play the toys also? So this was shot at home lang ah. So I had a black cloth at the back. Tapos
Mhm.
I also had my Shopee Surface. Thank you, Shopee. Tapos this one, okay, if you look at the bottle, you're gonna see two highlights sa left and the right. Yan, this is a good way to practice um siguro if kasi if you look at photographs and you try to look for the light source, it's good practice to yeah, it's good practice to look at photos and find out the source kasi it helps you figure out how it was lit. And
Mm-hmm.
so this one, I lit it.
Hello?
Oh, I think his
Got
connection
disconnected.
conked out.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
So, Chichi, what have you gathered from the works of of
Hans. I
Hans?
think well, Hans is very good with his work. I'm hands down. I don't question anything. He is well versed with lighting
I'm
and
back.
everything. I
Sorry.
really like. By the way, Hans, I really like the last image because even if there's a lot of prop heavy at the back, you still look at the bottle.
Yeah,
Your
Yeah.
eye is still
thank you.
strained with the bottle. So that's one of a prop or a food stylist normal job is to make sure even if it's props heavy, the hero of the photo should still be the center of your train of eye,
Okay.
your
Yeah.
sight, train of sight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel so
Yeah.
good. Hindi ako magaling mag-stand, but thank you.
Yeah. So kasi
Do you have
we're
other
going from
photos
there.
to show ba, Hans?
Here. I want to show you something na ano rin. I played around with. Let me look at it. Wait ah. This one naman, here. This is one of my favorite photos. I shot this for Fat Seed. Um, they had such pretty cups and they brought such pretty cartolina.
Oh,
And
so
ito
that's
naglalaro lang
coffee.
ka. Yeah, that's coffee. It's
Yes.
an espresso
It's
cup.
so nice. I
'Di
like
ba?
I like shooting minimalist tapos parang editorial. Ganda.
Yeah,
I thought
exactly.
at first, it's like it's like a plate that's hollow in the middle. Tapos pumpkin soup yung paligid.
Uy, pwede. So, ito, I just parang uh, we were shooting coffee and they wanted kasi yung Fat Seed in Katipunan, their menu is like an editorial magazine which is really cute. So,
Mm,
ganun yung theme ng ano nila, ng food shots nila. So I shot this for them. And in my head, parang iniisip ko, I should shoot it like this para may bago akong background sa computer ko. Diba? So, parang I came up with this and I was just so happy and it came out nice. And ako, it's not common for me because hindi ako editorial mag-shoot, hindi editorial style. Pero at the same time, parang it's nice to shoot like this because it it doesn't actually emphasize the food per se. Pero parang parang more sa feeling siya eh. More
mm-hmm.
Yeah, parang you
emotional
wanna
yung
grab
ano.
it. You wanna grab
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
oo, 'di ba? Parang like you want when you look at it, you don't immediately think, "Wow, kape." Like you're like, "Wow, this is so nice." Parang it's so pleasing,
Yeah.
Sa
'di
akin
ba?
parang it's very very mod, very
Oo,
English. Parang
'di ba?
kung sa tao who's that model back in the 70s? Twiggy.
Twiggy, wait, that's so familiar. Ano nga pala 'yun?
'Di ba
Parang
siya
familiar but
yung super yung eyelashes, yung mod like yung mga twist and shout na yung mga 70s
oo, yeah,
ganun.
yeah, yeah.
Kasi 'di ba parang ganun yung
Parang
parang
very
Color
bright and
palette.
very out
yeah.
Yeah.
there. Ito, I want to show you another photo. What? Let me look for it. Ito, this one, I did this shoot for Rice. It's parang they sell bottled drinks. And it was just a
Nice.
recent ano lang din. So, they sent this to me in the house. They also
Mm-hmm.
sent like a glass. So, ano lang yan, cartolina lang yan na naka-hilerang ganon. And the splash here, um, this was actually a composite, meaning I stitched together a lot of photos. So, essentially, if you look at the real photo, basang-basa na yung cartolina.
Oo.
Pero what I did, I just edited the bottom out. And then I
Because
just,
that's my question sana. Parang, Hans, don't tell me that you took it one shot na
well,
may ganyan. Tapos hindi nabasa
I
yung
wish.
I
cartolina.
think so.
I mean,
Pero
it's
I'm so
it's
amazed with
possible.
others who can do that. The
Oh,
composite.
nice. 'Di ba? Parang I'm grateful that I'm getting praise from such a super good stylist.
Grabe.
Tapos ito, I'll show you another photo naman. This one naman, with the help of Let's Eat Pare, because just recently I've been working with a lot of
Small
uh,
enterprises.
parang small businesses sa Let's Eat Pare.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad that I get to help them out. These are all the props in the house. This
Mm.
is from Saborgo in Paranaque. They have the best chicken in the salsisig. And so I ordered it and I'm like, sige, shoot ko na rin. And this is just our bowl and my knife and like when I style stuff like this, I try to think of what ingredients are in the dish. So parang I don't like putting things that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Yung kamatis dyan, I just put it para lang may pop of color because if you remove everything, it's gonna look too earthy and too flat. So although walang kamatis talaga sa chicken inasal, it's more for color.
Pero
That's why
how's
parang
your lighting here, Hans?
eto, if you look at the shadow, 'di ba? The shadow is somewhere in the bottom right.
Mm-hmm.
So I lit it that way para you get
Right.
ganun din, the same concept na I try to imagine there's a window tapos nandun yung table namin sa window and I'm just about to eat it. So it's
Yeah.
on parang I put the spatula there also. So it gives the idea na it's something that's to be served or it's something na parang ready to eat. 'Di ba? So ganun yung feel yung nahabol ko na parang it's just parang kaka-prepare pa lang so it's ready to serve.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Nice.
All right.
Tapos I'll
Nice
share one more thing
ito.
197. Ito. This one, um, ito naman, this maraming props to. This I shot for Ganzo. Ganzo is parang a pizza place that focuses on takeout. It just recently came out. It's by a good friend, Brian Francisco. He also owns Kaping Mainit, if you guys are familiar. It's in the south.
Mm-hmm.
He makes
Okay,
super
wait.
good.
Let
Yeah.
me break it down. So it has
Yeah.
button mushrooms, it has shiitake, of
Yeah.
course cheese, and the crust is made from squid ink.
No, it's made from activated charcoal.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Now
Wow.
Oh, that's
the
different.
'di ba?
That's
Yeah.
Yung
interesting.
story nito was that
Hated
my
chalk.
friend Brian, he has a branch Kaping Mainit in Tagaytay. And when Taal erupted, syempre, he had to, do a lot of things and daming stuff like that. And so when that whole thing died down a bit, he wanted parang to help out syempre his staff. So he came up with pandesal that was made with activated charcoal. So he called it ash desal. So parang just something to commemorate na parang hey, we're alive after Taal and something like that.
Yeah. Oh my
And
gosh,
so he
Taal
applied,
happened.
'di ba Taal happened and then COVID happened. So
Grabe,
parang
no?
it's so intense. So yun, he came up with this. Tapos he also has an ube pizza also, which is so interesting.
Oh,
Tapos
it's the
yun,
ube pizza. First.
Pero
it's
here, Hans, your lighting is on the bottom left. However,
no.
medyo mataas, tama?
Yeah,
Bottom
mataas
right.
siya. Bottom,
Bottom
no.
right pero
Top right.
top right, sorry, na medyo
Yeah,
mataas.
medyo mataas kasi
So
we
the
were shooting on
shadow
the
is on the
floor.
left. Ah, yeah. Oh,
Kasi
kasi
I
it's
wanted to
medyo,
get
you're
space.
gonna get a top shot rin, I'm sure, of that angle.
Yeah, I have a top shot of this. Now, yun din. When it comes to angling my food, uh, I don't always take top shots because they don't always make sense. When I shoot,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to think of the food in the perspective of the one who made it. Like, for
Yes.
example, if you shoot a lot of Filipino food, a lot of Filipino food is colorful. A lot of Filipino food is flat and put in a big container. So, food like that, you can shoot from the top. Kasi you want to get the ano
The
eh, the
contrasts.
the contrast. You want to get parang the whole thing in one picture.
Yeah.
Pero when you shoot naman other things like let's say fine dining or food like let's say ramen in a bowl, technically you can shoot it from the top. Pero if you shoot it at an angle, you get parang the depth of the bowl. You get parang a better sense of what the dish is like. 'Di ba?
Yeah.
Kasi sometimes there are some people na parang the chefs prepare food, tapos ang ganda ng pag-presentation, may height siya, and they shoot it from the top, and parang
Yeah.
the elements of the food, they disappear.
Mm.
So, nasasayang yung effort ng chef to plate it properly na hindi naintindihan ng photographer kung bakit plinate ng ganon. 'Di ba? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
very common thing to happen nowadays.
So medyo yung ganong pag-iintindihan and understanding and communication
Yeah,
vital between the
vital talaga.
photographer
Yes.
and the chef. Hans, I have a
Oo.
question. If I
Yes.
am, for example, a budding food photographer, of course, I need a camera. I need a basic light setup. What other things do I need so I can start my trade or I can start being a food photographer? And ano yung parang pinaka basic na pwede mong i-advise sa akin ng mga bilhin in terms
Ako,
of quality ng camera, whatever lighting ganun.
ako the best thing talaga is you don't necessarily have to focus on your equipment or on your on mga props. Kasi ako what's important is one, you have to be very respectful of the food. You have to know parang bakit, why is the food done that way? Who made it and why was it parang who was it made for? Parang the history of the food you're taking has to be first thing talaga. Tapos when it comes to lighting and everything, the best way to learn is to look at pictures online. Tapos you dissect it in your head. Saan galing yung ilaw na to? Kasi um, it's all practice talaga eh. You have to parang take pictures, tapos siguro you ask people, ay, how does this look? How does this, ano? And when you look at, when you look at pictures kasi, it, parang napapractice yung utak mo eh. When you know where things are lit and how they're lit, that's the best way talaga to exposure to photographs and everything. Something like that. So, parang don't focus muna on equipment. Actually, you can start with your phone. You take pictures with your phone, then you get better with it. Tapos when you get better with it, then you upgrade your equipment, then you can buy props. Kasi it's not nice to follow trends so much. What you should look at are the
Yes.
photos that actually work. Like some menus, you look at those. Like, parang ganun. It's, yeah, exposure talaga to photographs. That's important.
Ako, also get inspired with cookbooks or
Yeah, cookbook,
Yeah.
yun. Parang you look at the photos and then you see how they work and how they were shot. Ganun lang kasimple.
Yeah, sa ating audience, parang Hans is saying that don't focus too much on parang ang high-end gadgets or like props or lighting. Um, prac familiarize yourselves with photos, how they're lit. Use your phone kasi naman marami namang phone ngayon na magaganda naman talaga yung labas ng photos. And then from there, you build up your arsenal
Yeah, 'di ba?
of
Like siguro
photography.
like
Ano.
sa bahay niyo, like if may bintana kayo, lagay niyo yung table niyo diyan, tapos you just shoot the food there. You'll see how it will look. Parang just play around with the light. Yun lang.
Yeah.
Parang like lipat-lipat mo lang yung table mo or something.
Uy, Hans, I do that at home. Hindi naman ako
Oh, 'di ba?
photographer. Wala akong
Yeah,
ilaw
Yeah.
light,
no.
by the way. Wala
So,
akong ilaw light
lots of
photographer.
lots of photo
Very helpful.
examples and practical tips coming from master food photographer Hans Fausto. When we get back, it's now the time for our food stylist extraordinaire,
Yes,
ChiChi Tullao.
exciting.
Now, so para lang mabago yung perspective, Hans talked about compositions. I mean, ano rin yan, i-discuss ni ChiChi. Lighting also, but ChiChi would focus, for example, on tips and tricks. Kunwari, di ba, yung kailangan umuusok. Ano ba yung tip doon, ganon. So, watch out for that, magbabalik po tayo dito sa Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide.
Yes.
Thank you.
Magbabalik ang Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide. Connected ka na ba para laging updated sa mga bagong shows, promos, trending news, viral videos, events, o patok na OPM hits? Just follow us on Facebook at V81 Radio South Manila. Simple lang, itype lang ang letter V81 Radio South Manila. O di ba madali lang? Kaya i-like at i-follow na. Permant na! Maaga ang pamasko na hatid sa inyo ng Home Not Alone Songs from Home Season 2 ngayong September. Powerhouse OPM artists from Viva Records ang makakakwentuhan at kantahan ni Papa Gio, Janine Tinioso, Marion, Michael Keith, and Joe E. Kaya wag nang magpahuli. Tumutok na every Wednesday at 7 p.m. California time or Thursday 10 a.m. Philippine time. Kasama ang inyong maestro, si Papa Gio sa V81 Radio, Los Angeles. Are you ready to explore a new kind of music? Yung bang kakaiba na hindi mo pa napapakinggan, mga bagong artist? Discover them, hear them in Napalm Hour. Ang Napalm ay ang new all-Pinoy alternative music source na para sa kakaibang musika. Alternative artists and bands all the time. Catch them at Napalm Hour. Mondays through Fridays, 12 noon to 1 p.m. and 8 to 9 p.m. Streaming live on V81 Radio mobile app. Kaya i-download mo na for free. Now na! Balikan na natin ang Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
Nagbabalik po tayo dito sa Yes Chef, Balitang Kusinero Worldwide at pinag-uusapan natin ang food styling and food photography. Nalalaman natin kanina yung mga tips and tricks at yung science and art behind food photography na binigay sa atin ng ating master food photographer Hans Fausto. Ngayon naman makakasama natin silang dalawa pa rin pero mag-focus naman tayo sa food styling. At ano nga ba ang sasabihin na tricks and tips and magic ni ChiChi, Miss ChiChi Tullao, our food stylist extraordinaire, sa kanyang experience sa food styling. Hi ChiChi, hi Hans, we're back.
Hi again.
Alright, so ChiChi, nasabi ko kanina that a food stylist and a food photographer should work together hand in hand, hindi ba? So, ano, tawag doon, nawala ba siya?
Nawala si ChiChi.
Parang,
Ayun, back. Nahulog lang yung phone.
Ayan, she's back. Ayan, so ChiChi, parang share naman to us your experience as a food stylist. What's most challenging? What's the easiest for you? Tapos, through your photos as well. May photos din na i-share si ChiChi sa atin.
Yan.
Okay, so I think the most challenging for me when I was starting was ice cream. Kasi when you don't know how to take an ice cream, that's really, really hard. And, you know, the lighting of will really make it melt. So with that, it's one of the hardest, especially since you don't also know what's where you're shooting, or is it on location? If does the client have a freezer or something to that effect, just to help you.
Ba na
So
they
normally,
said na when you're shooting ice cream, it's clay. You use clay.
I actually use my own recipe. It's sort of like a clay.
Mm-hmm.
That helps a lot for the photographers and of course even the client. The only tricky part is actually making sure that the color of the ingredients or even the ice cream itself is correct. Because of course, when you're using your own recipe, it's a blank canvas. So my recipe, most of the time, my recipe is like just white, and then I color it to to the color
Sa
of the
set
ice
na.
cream that the client wants. Yes, yes.
Okay,
Wow.
okay. All right.
Mm-mm. And
Interesting.
then,
Una pa
yeah.
lang may
So,
pasabog na si ChiChi.
yeah, if you need ice cream photos, I can help you there. But, yun yung mga dati kasing I figured when I was starting, it's so hard because how do you manage that, right? And then another thing that was hard for me when I was starting was yung mga color brown na food. Like, syempre, especially now, it's all Filipino food is we're immersed in Filipino food that it's
Vibrant,
all mostly brown, but it's
Yeah,
vibrant, but it's mostly
adobo,
brown. So,
kaldereta.
Yeah.
exactly, 'di ba? Parang puro brown lahat. So ano I think what it's the up to the stylist also and the props and as a prop stylist to look into props that can compromise or help the plating or the dish of the chef and together with the photographer for lighting kasi baka naman you'll use all color brown palette and then everything will just drown, so you also have to look into the
Mm-mm.
mood or
Yeah.
the color or the theme of your product, and that's how you tell the story. I think I can show you some of the photos from my from
Please.
from the yeah. Okay, so not my photo, but okay. Yeah, so
Wow.
okay, so this is a dim sum product that I styled. Of course, the steaming I also did that and stuff like that. Just so because there's a way to showcase it na hindi over steamed, but
Yeah.
but um the story behind this shoot or this layout is that they want authenticity. So how can you
Okay.
actually because authenticity in a way that the chefs come from China actually or Hong Kong. I think it's a Hong Kong based chef, and
Ah.
that they really produce recipes from way back, and to have that story all together, I had to prop things because it's a very clinical approach because they
Yeah.
only want white white plates. I mean, if you're
Oh.
using just white plates, you can
Mm-hmm.
only do so much, right? I mean, as a
Yeah, that's
photographer,
true.
sobrang
That's
I'm
true.
sure hands
Mahirap.
mahihirapan kapag white na yung plate. I mean, hindi ko talaga pwedeng ma-use yung stone and stuff because that's not how the dish is served and they want it
Yeah,
served
yeah.
authentic like how it's presented in a restaurant, so we had to play with elements to be more cohesive and adapt to it. So using dim sum basket, dim sum basket is basically very a Chinese tradition. It's part
Yeah.
of
Yeah, super standard
a
na.
Chinese restaurant, yeah. And then at the same time, oh, I figured, oh, they have the chili, the toyo. I mean, it's just
Pero,
small
ChiChi, may
elements. Mm-mm,
question. May question here
mm-mm.
kunwari doon sa dim sum basket. 'Di ba
Yes,
when you steam,
yes,
sometimes pag pinicturean mo mukhang basa. How do you
yes.
not make it look like it's drenched but it's not
Ah,
dry? Kasi 'di ba yung wonton wrappers also they get dry on the edges eh.
Mm.
I agree. I agree. So what I normally do is I let it sit a little bit and then put highlights. So just highlights of it depends on how the because normally, especially now, I don't want to waste the food. So I try to make sure that I don't fake it so much so that it can
Mhm.
still be edible. And
Yeah,
we can't anymore not fake, I mean, we can't anymore waste so much food because we're in a pandemic and stuff. So for me,
that's
better
true.
makakain pa yan and kaya na. I mean, part of the ano is it should be able to be eaten because sayang yung raw mats. So what I
Yeah.
normally do is put lang just dibs of highlights that's something edible to the product. So it still looks, if you can see the photo, there's like minimum highlights from the lighting, right? So that's because of
Mhm.
the thing that I put on it. So it doesn't look wet, but it's highlighted. So there.
There's
Um
it glistens but
Oh,
it's
like
not
the
drenched.
yes, it
mushrooms, 'di
glistens.
ba?
Yes, that's the term. Yes, I agree. And then if you see the mushrooms also, I mean, guys, just so you know, that has been sitting for 3 hours, but it still looks okay.
Wow.
Kasi,
Oo nga eh.
yeah, because
Wow.
And
that's
'di
the
ba like
last
mushrooms are
layout.
normally like parang dry looking and
Yeah.
No, ako
galing.
talaga
So I
yung
added more
kunwari
of the sauce.
yung shark's
Oh.
fin, yung nasa gitna
Mm-mm.
ng basket, those edges would turn dry and crispy.
Oo, 'di ba? Yeah, that's true.
Yes. So normally for photo shoots like that, I normally request them to not over steam it agad to how it should be cooked. Because
Mhm.
again, at the end of the day, you don't want, you'll know for a fact that it will last longer for the photographer and also for the entire group shot if meron man, because you normally you shoot, 'di ba, per dish and then biglang
Then
lahat
group
ng
shot.
layout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
those, yes, so those things you don't cook it thoroughly, but just to a point that the color is there.
Yeah.
And then eventually when you want to eat it na, di cook it thoroughly, and then
All the way now. Yeah.
edible. So yeah, yeah, exactly. And it will still taste good because that's dim sum.
That's good.
Yeah.
Mm.
Nice.
I can eat
Yes.
dim
So
sum
other,
every day.
I know, right? Okay, next photo.
Same.
Okay.
Oh, good
So
to.
another with shoots is I also asked the client or the client what their theme is, because sometimes it's not all just white plated, and I have the liberty to bring my props, to bring backgrounds, ganyan. And I think this is one of the different the things that's different with me is because I produce my own props. So if you do shoots with me, I normally make it. So para na rin siyang production design kasi you
Mhm,
get that
mhm.
get that background or surface that I
Galing.
have on stock, and or I have just produce it for you. So that's a photographer's dream come true kasi it's
Oo nga.
unique, and then it's for the brand.
So,
Mm.
but the egg here
So with
is
this was
real.
like a bacon sandwich.
Oh, wow.
Sorry? The
The
egg,
egg.
yes, the egg is real. So, yes, the egg is real. So, we just added like something to glisten it again because you normally the egg dries up also. There's also just
Oh, yeah.
a
It's
period
hard
where
to have an egg.
it's yeah, it's no, it's just there's a period to do it eh. So with
Yeah.
that,
And
you also have to time it. So the last part na yung egg sa shot na to para at
yeah,
least to
and I
make sure
can
it's
imagine
set.
that this egg is cooked in very low temperature because there's
Yes,
minimal
very low.
browning on the edges,
Diba?
minimal
Ang linis
minimal
ng itlog eh.
bubbles on the white.
It's very low, like 80, ganyan, kung induction ginagamit mo.
Oo, tapos ano
The
to, hindi
pinaka-lowest.
hindi tinakpan.
Oo, diba? Kasi parang medyo
Because
Mm-mm.
when you
raw pa
cover
yung
it,
taas.
hindi, and when you cover it, the yolk would form a film
Yeah, the
na
white
hindi
Yes.
ano.
na yellow na yellow.
Yeah.
So a trick with that is this is something I can help. I mean, if for budding food stylist, or of course you want your brands with egg, ganyan. Normally I cook it very very low, and then I separate the yolk and the white. So the white first and then the yolk after. Parang yan yung last part.
Ang
So
Oh,
it's like
galing!
yellow and then
wow.
plump. Mm.
Oo nga, no?
So, and then it sets pa. So,
Galing.
parang medyo sobrang malasadong malasad. Parang less cook yung yellow part.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's still
Oo.
yeah.
cook, I mean, it's still
Let's still cook.
edible.
That's so
Yes, yes,
smart.
yes. So here like this, they want dark tones. So
Mm-mm-mm.
you also have to think outside of the box. How can you plate dishes that has warm tones but it's on a dark setting? So using plates, props, it highlights it in a way. Like this is still, even if there's a lot of props at the back, you still look first at the sandwich with the egg
The
because
Yeah,
sandwich, yeah.
that's the hero of the layout.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, next style. Okay.
Oh, I
So
love
this is a
shots like
very
this.
food porn photo. I really love also shots like this when I
Diba?
give when a client tells me
Macros.
ikaw na bahala. Like make a story out of my food kahit editorial pa yan. This is very editorial by the way because that's not
Oo, diba?
how a dish is served. Although bacon and fries
Pwede
is
pang
very
cover
much
ng magazine to.
yum. Yeah, so that's something that I did for this layout is to really cook each and every bacon there
Every
and then
piece.
fry every
Ah.
piece to make sure
Oh my
it
gosh.
looks
Perfect, no?
crispy. Oo, it's perfect but there's a little bit of dentures kasi syempre imperfection still is okay. It's not for
Yeah,
me
but not so much,
my
ano?
I don't really like stiff
Yeah.
layouts. So it still has to have imperfections, but not too much, but just right
Yeah.
to make it more natural. And of course, hand cut fries that we didn't buy, we really made it
You
because
just did it yourself.
iba pa rin eh. Iba pa rin when you do it yourself, and you would
Yeah.
also make notes of what the cuts that you want.
Yeah.
So there, that's another tip with food styling. And another way with this, actually, my tip here, because I'm showing this, is the bacon to actually have that natural curl.
The
You
curl,
can
no?
use oo, normally hindi lahat ng bacon ganyan, guys. Like
Oo,
it's
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Or
Ang liit pa
or
the
nga, di
kaya
ba?
honesty.
sobrang magsishrink.
Oo,
Yes,
exactly.
oo. So what I actually do, guys, for mga for mga shoots, is to put it in the oven. So I cook
Yes.
the bacon in the oven, and then it's actually nakaano with the aluminum foil, and then if you have the aluminum foil, you just curve it like that. Yung parang may mountains na maliliit, and
Yeah.
then you put the bacon,
Ah.
and then you put it in the oven. So it makes like that, and it doesn't shrink. Still
Yeah.
crispy, still juicy, and
But
then
not
you just put
small.
glistening, of course.
Another
Mm-mm.
another tip
So
on
there.
bacon sa oven, kunwari nasa pan, 'di ba? Patungan ng
Yes.
tawag doon ng cooling rack para
Oo,
hindi
yeah.
mag-shrink masyado.
Yes, that's also another way. Agree. I totally
Correct.
agree. Okay, next photo.
Wow.
Oh, so I also love styling very set styled shots. Not naman
Oo.
set to a point of it's somewhere. This is actually a shoot for a kasama rom. It's new. It's actually for European brand. Basically, they've bought kasama, and they did this, and they want
Wow.
Philippines tropics, but not too heavy. Like parang at
Yeah.
least there's a marriage between it being sold internationally pero still tropical kasi from the Philippines. So
Yeah.
that's my idea of how it should be presented. Like when you're in a bar or in a resort, right?
Mhm.
That's there's normally a bar cart somewhere there, and it's made
Yeah.
of either nara,
Mhm.
bamboo, something, and that emulates it to a, to a point that even if this is props heavy, you still will look into the cocktails and the bottle. So again,
Yeah.
it you have to work hand in hand with the photographer in terms of why are you um production designing. I mean, you're doing the production design all like ang dami-dami, but what is still the hero? So syempre the photographer will still look into where the eyes will go to,
Yeah.
which
We'll
is the
go. Yeah.
bottle and the cocktails.
Yeah. Tapos
Yes.
may
Okay.
mga ano pa
Okay.
dried oranges or ano ba 'yun?
Yeah, the
Yes,
bitters
because
and
it's cocktails, diba? Parang the point of the shot is, or the prop styling for this is to emulate that someone can make a cocktail out of the rum. So
Mm.
yeah.
some of the
Tapos parang
bitters, some of those
para kang nasa
um
Havana.
Diba?
ingredients,
I like then that the Philippine mangoes
nasa
are there.
beach.
Parang it's a Filipino element, diba?
Yes, exactly. And still, it doesn't compensate the fact that it's sold internationally. So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
diba?
it's
Ang
still
Yeah.
galing.
mabuhay ang
Oh, wow.
Philippine product na kasama.
Galing.
Yes. Next. What?
Wow.
Okay. What?
Wow.
Oh, so this was actually a pizza dough. So I have worked this with Chef Salvatore Kumo. Hi, Chef Salvatore. He is a
Ah,
Japanese Italian chef. So we were trying to make something out of the pizza dough, the not typical way of doing it. So with his syempre because you're working with a chef, sometimes there's a lot of wild imagination.
idea.
You have
Oh,
to make everything work. Ideas na parang I want this and this.
yeah.
It boils it it boils down to how will it work to a shoot, because you can't put everything right. And
Yeah,
he
yeah.
Yeah.
wants to showcase the cheese product, um and then at the same time still have a little bit of elements of the other item. So I said, you know
Ganda.
what, we can showcase that, but not too much, because again, I'm a believer of not so, there's not a lot of kalat or
Mhm.
ingredients that doesn't work on a shoot. So it still boils down on what works. It should be a point where the product or the dish is still the hero, even if there's a lot of
Yes.
elements in the background. And then at the same time, the composition. So the composition here, if you see, there's like an wave, there's an S, like pa S siya from
Oo
the
nga,
plate,
no.
three plates, and then the curve of the pizza, and then the last of the, I think that was, what nut is that? Pine nuts.
Pine nuts.
So
Yeah,
Pine nuts,
pinoli.
there's
yeah.
that. Yes, yes. So with that, also look into it when
Galing.
you're composing layouts. Na there's waves, kasi the waves will help you to not to make it more not so stiff. It helps you
Mm.
also to look into where's your train of the where
Yeah,
are you
yeah,
Or where
yeah.
your
looking at.
eyes get
So it
led,
still
di ba?
helps. Yes,
Dynamic.
exactly. So there's
Yeah,
still
yeah.
storytelling. Yes. So yes, that's it.
Dito, the
Next.
pizza dough became like a platter because
Yes,
parang it's a
exactly.
ano,
That's
it's
his
a spread
idea.
eh. It's not
Galing.
Yeah.
really like a literal pizza na like the tomato sauce is already in a
Parang
sauce
naging
form.
symbolism na siya.
Yeah. This is
Oh, so
Tapos
he
nice.
kind I think the chef really wanted to make his dough like something else more than a normal pizza. He is one of the best pizza makers I have known. So
Talaga?
and he wants to elevate it, Chef
does he live here
Salvatore.
in the Philippines?
Previously he actually has restaurants here, which is Salvatore Kumo and then Salvatore Kumo Bar. But since now he's now located back again to Japan with his family
Ay,
because
went
of
back
all this
na.
this pandemic. Yeah.
Kasi
Mm-mm.
this photo parang tells
But
me
this is
this what
mm-hmm.
goes on, this what goes into your pizza. Parang
Yeah.
yun yung message
Yes.
niya.
But you can eat all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oo.
All of that in that platter. Okay. What else? Next. Okay, I'm showing.
Oh, it's so
Okay. So
Oh,
nice.
I
I'm
love
gonna come
this.
back with Hans saying about using hand models or action
Yeah.
shots. So this is like an action shot of the preparation of a mushroom bun actually. So if you can
Oh.
see, the it's typically these types of shot is normally for baking, but since you know it's a bun and you use flour, you use this material like
It makes
garlic,
sense to do
savory.
this din
So
naman, di ba?
yeah. So this was for creamery catering, I think. Yes, that their
Okay.
mushroom buns is one of the best. So
Ah.
she wants to have a storytelling of it, kasi ang point nung when we were discussing, alam mo, ang tagal namin pinag-usapan to. I mean, we R&D a lot of things. So parang I felt how long was the process to make it actually work. And so we
Yeah.
wanted it to be in the image. Na it's hard work. Like this is something, the image was telling you the story of this is from ground up. We produce it.
Yeah.
We don't buy anything, and we use all natural ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Galing.
And a very cinematic, like what Hans has been showing earlier.
Yeah. Oh, I like
And that was my
this.
hands pala. Ano ba yan?
Ah, ikaw yan!
Ikaw yan.
Sometimes hand model pala ako. Oo, minsan pag
What?
walang hand model.
Stylist slash model
Only for
for
when
food.
there's need. Okay, next.
Oh, I love photos like
Okay,
this
this was
also.
okay. This is another way of styling sandwiches. So with styling sandwiches, definitely you have to think of the degree or the angle of the photographer. So kasi 'di ba sandwiches, burgers, and anything layered, you should shot it
Layers.
on axis. So the layers needs to be seen. So styling it
Mm-hmm.
also, showcasing it is not nandadaya. Okay, that's just making it sure that it's really
Mm-hmm.
seen. So here with styling, a tip would be try to make sure each element or each layer is seen. It's not overpowering. It's not like over the top
Mm-hmm.
ang laki-laki ng product or ng ingredients per layer, but just right. Like each layer has to have its hero moment. Like the lettuce
Yeah.
is so crisp.
Yeah.
The ham here is so um it's red and brown, just so to see the fat and the of the meat,
Parang you
and
can
then
Yeah.
identify
the
each
sauce.
ingredient and what its strength is,
Exactly.
diba? Yeah.
Exactly, yes. And it will make you this morning sandwich because
Yeah, I
there's
want
egg
Oh,
there.
so
I want to
good.
So
sink my teeth into it. And
yes.
napansin ko dito,
So
like I'll just go back to your
mm-mm.
point, Chichi, that it's not nandadaya. It's
Sure.
really because it's visual eh. So
Mm,
there's an
Yes.
effort to emphasize lang.
yes.
Agree. Exactly. So, emphasizing is not faking it, but basically just showcasing it even more. And and to think here, what I love about this photo, it's not prop heavy, but it
Hmm.
Yeah.
showcases the entire layer of the sandwich, and that's the hero of the dish. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
hero. So it's a lot of food styling and a preparation, like each layer by layer, you have to think twice how will the photographer will shoot it, or
Yeah.
how will you shoot it if you don't have a professional photographer, and then just build it from ground up and have a
Yes.
natural light. So there. What else? Next. Oh, so this was a more editorial cookbook. It was a cookbook for a
Oh,
Spanish. This
wow.
was for Poveda cookbook. So we were showcasing drinks. So with the
Mm-hmm.
drinks that we've done, basically it's different types of drinks. So why I'm showcasing this is because there's a lot of drinks, and in food styling you also need to look into copy. So
Yeah.
if you have a concept in mind and you want to promote, you also have to look into the layout, like where
Yes,
ni
that's
Mm.
baka
important.
kasi you style it like when you compose the layout, and there's so much props, there's so much a lot of
So
things
there's no
going on.
space na
And
for
if
everything else, diba?
Oo, wala
exactly, if
nang
you
space sa
want to
Yeah.
text.
produce a promo o ganyan, there's the
Question,
text, the copy. Mm-hmm.
Chichi, what do you do with ice? Kasi 'di ba, ito sa totoong buhay magpapawis yung mga glasses tsaka magpapawis yung mga
Yes,
pictures. Tapos bad trip
correct.
yun kasi pag nagpawis yun, may mga drips yun.
Oo.
How do you
Correct.
deal with that?
So what I normally use actually is fake ice. So if you have the nice fake ice that I was happy. So normally, sorry, every 2 years I go to the states and try to look into props or look into um, people who I have touched base with when I was still studying there, and see how they do it. How are they doing? So with this, I've also learned suppliers for fake ice, which is actually just an
Oh.
Amazon or online. I think meron na rin sa Lazada and Shopee. I'm not so
It's
sure,
hard
but
to find
if you
here.
yes, it's really, I have to be honest, there's really none here in the
Yeah.
Philippines, guys.
Oo.
So if you have the capability, or there's
Network.
available network, or no, actually just availability to make
Yeah.
to order online in Amazon, there's a lot of really good fake ice. So I really use invested fake ice a lot for cocktail,
Wow.
for normal
Mm-hmm.
water. I mean for just the drinks, and then I use a specific squeeze bottle to fake the drip, that yung parang moist
Squeeze
yung
Yung,
bottles?
oh,
there's a specific squeeze bottle that has a
Talaga.
fine
mist.
moisture for the yes, the mist, exactly, na hindi siya masyadong mukhang yung
Yung
nagsistay lang siya doon.
buo-buo.
Ang
Yeah,
galing. Kasi
exactly,
ako,
because you want it to
I'm
look
familiar with the
refreshing.
mixtures of what you use for drinks eh. Di ba? Something about
Yes.
like water and glycerin and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oo.
So that's also something that you can use, and it will stick to the glass, and it won't ruin your
It won't,
glass. So that's also one
yeah.
tip that you can just buy in Mercury.
Oh,
But
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Oh.
another way is also using sugar, like liquid that's
Simple syrup.
yes, simple syrup. That's one
Yeah.
thing, but you have to make sure that it's less simple syrup, more water, because otherwise it will stick to your
Oh.
squeeze bottle, and it will not,
Mm.
it
Come
will,
out.
mas
Oo,
mahihirapan siya
babara.
rather than madadalian. Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
Chichi, I
yes.
don't
interesting.
know if you have done this, but in the yung sa mga food court, sa mga
Yes.
mall, so they have the entire platter, kunwari, cup of rice, and then yung steak. Tapos parang, it looks like the real thing, pero is it plastic? Or what do they do there?
Like the
Diba
Japanese,
yung sa oo, yung mga
Ah,
nasa food
yeah.
court nga.
Yeah, that they use silicone. Parang it's really a very, it's a, that's made from Japan for sure.
yeah.
I highly, or it's maybe a mock-up of someone knows how to really make a mock-up here in case. But that's made of silicone usually, and the Japanese people really are
They're
known
so
for
good at
doing
it.
that. You're so good at it. You can even customize something that you want,
Yeah.
that you want to showcase something to that effect. So if you've been to fast food Japanese restaurants, I'm sure in the
Ang
Philippines,
dami lagi,
especially
di
if
ba?
it's franchise, marami, 'di ba? Kasi it's part
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
It's how they
Pero it's not
usually see
real
it.
food.
It's
No,
not real
no, it's
food.
not real food.
Kasi
But
It,
for sure it's not real food.
my initial thoughts were, ano siya, yung talagang, yung food na yon tapos subjected to something
tas nilublob sa Elmer's glue or
nilalaminate
something.
or something.
No, normally it's not real unless like some, yung iba like maybe a cookie stand. Sometimes you wanna see how the cookies is looks like. Hindi, there's no way to make gaya because
Yeah,
the
the
cookie
cookies
or
kasi they're,
something
yeah.
will expire. I mean, there will, it's not, it's not good anymore. Maybe what, 7 days, 10 days. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not so sure how expiry the cookies are, but you can't just showcase it there forever unless you put something on it na it will help it, make it live without molds. But most of the time really that's fake. Yes, and it's okay, it's good representation beyond photos. If
Yeah, that's true.
that's something, especially for Japanese, because they're not very particular with photos. They're more
Yeah,
particular
they're
with
more,
dishes that's in outside of the restaurant, right? So it
Mhm.
diba,
helps
yeah.
them kasi
Actually,
that's
if you
how
go to
they.
Tokyo,
Mhm.
there's this street that sells
Mhm.
kitchen equipment and stuff, and there are stores
Yes,
there that sell the fake food that you can customize and stuff like that.
and it
Oh.
looks really real, chef.
And
Like
it look,
really,
yeah,
like
exactly, diba?
yeah.
Ang
There was
galing,
a
sobrang
time,
galing.
parang I remember in my Instagram page na parang nagpost ako, real or not real. Ganyan. As in ice cream siya, like the cone and everything. Tapos
Oo,
ang
yan,
dami
naabutan ko
nagsabi,
yun.
80% ata nagsabi real. Sabi ko, no,
Real,
it's fake. As in, ginanon ko ata yung mold. Kaya lang makita nila, guys, fake siya. And hindi nila makapaniwala. Ganun sila kagaling. I wish we also had that talent. But I'm sure there
Oo
are
nga eh.
sculptors or marunong
Mhm.
mag-mock up to make that happen.
Yeah, siguro wala pa masyadong demand, but I'm sure it will get there,
Yeah.
diba?
Yes, agreed. I wish we also had that talent. But I'm sure there are
Yep.
sculptors or marunong
Okay.
mag-mock up.
Do you have,
Why is
do you have
my...
other photos?
I believe there is still photos. Let's see if there's still photos. Um, if
Last slide na
none,
daw
well,
yun.
okay. If that's the case, well, I think that those are my, the summary is for food styling is more of look into your color palette.
Mhm.
What
Yes,
does your
I agree.
client, or what if you're your own client, what do you want to evoke in your images? Like, is it from the house, like, very natural, very parang niluto sa bahay and stuff like that, or you want it to be a little bit editorial, and then at the same time look into composition, like, do you really need, think of it again and again, do you really need ingredients in your props, or it can just be,
Mhm.
some plates, some natural cloth, some
Mhm.
elements actually, or how they say incidentals in the term of
Yes.
photography and styling, to help make the layout work. And then at the same time, also, look into the mood, like how is it something for breakfast, is it something for dinner, or
Mhm.
is it
Yeah,
something
Mhm.
for
oh,
lunch,
tama yun.
and that will also help you story tell the product or the
Chi-
Yes.
dish.
Chichi, if I'm a starting and a budding food stylist, ano yung
Okay.
dapat nasa kit ko?
Marami.
Nasakit, okay, medyo marami. Wait. But
Hindi, pero sige.
I have started like that. Like before 2014, wala, I don't have a kit. Like I was really just gunning for it. It was more experience talaga, like
Yeah.
learning from the chefs kasi immersing yourself also with how the chefs think and then how the
Yes, tama
photographers
yun.
think. That will help you compose a layout. So I think that's one thing. Trying to cook and see how you want to present it.
Mhm.
Immersing yourself with more knowledge, studying. That if you're a budding photographer or a stylist, there's a lot of online links right now, especially because of this pandemic. That
Mm,
authors, cookbook writers, publishers even shares their parang workshops,
Mhm.
yeah.
and you can it's cheaper rather than flying there and spending so much, and you
Learning.
really learn. Yes, you really
Pero
learn a
like,
lot from them.
kunwari, you'd tell na, dapat you have tweezers, you have those
Yes,
highlighters.
I think the pinaka important na five items that I need as a stylist is one, a torch. Normally I
Yeah.
have something like a pen torch, not a big torch, just because a pen torch
Oh,
helps you super
there's a
yung
pen
Yeah.
torch?
yung parang
Mas
super
details.
manipis. Yeah, exactly.
Ang
And
galing
then
ah.
uh, another would be a tweezers if you need to pick something that you don't, because you have hands and the hands will really stick to the food and you don't want to hold the food, right? Because mag-iiba lahat. So tweezers really help, not just for chefs but for stylists as well, because you can get the super
Yeah, parang
minuscule
precision
thing
yung ano
there.
talaga eh.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like parang may dumi or something, right? And you don't
Mhm.
know because of from the cooking. You can really get that from a tweezer. Another would be, I think, my favorite
Tissue,
tool that I
maraming
always
tissue.
use. Actually, tissue, which is a paper towel tissue, more than a normal
Yeah,
tissue,
yeah.
because the paper towel helps
They
you
break.
absorb
Yeah,
oil and stuff. But
yeah.
basically, a paintbrush also. I think that's my number one thing.
Oh.
Mawala na lahat, not my paintbrush. My paintbrush na nag-absorb ng oil, guys, ha? Hindi yung normal paintbrush lang
Yung sa
na
National Bookstore.
national bookstore. Like actually there are paintbrushes that absorbs oil. Yung normal for
Talaga?
oil-based paintbrushes, yung the ones
Yeah,
used by
yeah.
painters,
Ah.
because you're painting also, but it's used with oil, with cooking oil, right? I mean, there's
That's so
Yeah, yeah.
the food
smart.
has, so you use a paintbrush that's good for
For oil
that's good
painting.
for oil painting, that will help you
Oh,
2 years,
wow.
3 years down the line still exist. Yeah, I think that's five na ba. And knives, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Chefs have knives. Stylists also has the knives. So it's almost similar to a chef, just that there's a lot of other details pa na
Mhm.
a chef doesn't need, but it will help a layout for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So, we've talked about, thank you, Chichi, but we've talked about food photography, we talked about food styling, but, di ba, kami, from our end, it's still food. It still
Yes,
has to taste good. And I know that hindi naman kailangan pagbanggain because
No.
these are not two opposing ideas na pag maganda,
agree.
hindi masarap.
Yeah.
Pag masarap, hindi maganda. Hindi naman tayo binary thinkers like some people I know. Well, most people I know. Na kapag ayaw ng white sand sa Manila Bay, gusto ng basura. Anyway, anyway. No, but do you think, um, no matter how good the presentation is, still the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Yeah.
What do you think? Ikaw muna, Hans. What do you, as a photographer?
I think ano naman it really is the eating. I mean, that's the point of, in food styling and food photography is to represent the food in the best way we can. 'Di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So, we have to make sure na it looks the way it tastes. So if it looks good, most often than not, it's gonna taste good, hopefully.
Yes, I totally agree with Hans.
Yeah.
It needs to be a together thing, not just
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
food being masarap, not just food looking good, but has to be parehong okay. Because at the end of the day, you're investing for photography and investing for
and
whatever,
styling.
but styling, yes. But your food doesn't meet the standards of what was photographed, then why would you even invest on something like that?
Yeah,
I
sayang
I
lang
Mm-hmm.
eh.
I,
Yeah.
I yeah, kasi sayang lang eh. Because an image will, of course, it will always be there. But knowing that the food really tastes good, even without even just hearsay, like even
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
just crowd how do they say it
Yung word of mouth
Word
and
of
suggested
mouth.
or word of mouth, yes, word of
yeah.
mouth, then that works already because that's where naman we started before, from before social media, before
Yeah,
anything.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
really how you, because recommended by someone, right? So I think it should work hand in hand. And I do hope that when your food is good and you also want to invest on food styling and photography, you also look into how you want to brand it because branding
Yeah.
also
It's
helps right
important
now.
also.
Dapat
Mm-mm.
clear
Kasi, mm-mm.
sa utak.
Yes,
Kasi parang
agree.
gusto
Mm-mm.
mo, ganito yung photos, pero yung layout naman ng menu mo,
Sabog.
hindi hindi ayos dun sa kung paano
Yeah,
kinompose yung photos.
that's
Agree.
true.
So that needs to work. That every all of those aspects will fall together to create your brand.
Yeah.
So that's a really good investment, and I hope that, of course, always, as Janice mentioned earlier, also it's not cooking a lot, but cooking to make sure that
Quality.
it's really
Yeah.
quality.
Yeah.
Agree, agree. All right, before I let the two of you go, uh just some greetings from Chef Manny De Leon. Hello. Hello, Chef Jello. Hello po, Chef Manny. Chef Manny is one of our um board members of HR Cap. From Michelle
Wow.
Pagdilaw Luna. Hi, good afternoon. Hi, Michelle. Hello.
Hello.
From Alex Ko. Sabi niya,
Hi.
wow, Saborgo
Hello.
represents, sir.
Wow.
Hello.
And from Andre Ko, hi, my idol, Hans Fausto.
Kapitbahay
Yan.
ko lang yan. Hello.
All right. So,
Hi
okay.
guys.
Hans and ChiChi, thank you very much. Before I let you go, Hans, please invite everyone to your social media pages, to the services that you offer, and hindi, tsaka para ganito ha. Well, I don't want our show to be boring, but because I would ask you, how much do you charge, Chichi and Hans? Mamaya, tigisa kayo, pero how much do you charge? Give me a range so that our audience would have an idea. Kasi merong mga nag-PPM sa akin, sabi nila, Jello, how much do they charge? Ask them. Sabi ko, I will not ask them personally. I will ask, because I believe that as artists, we put price in our jobs, in our skills and talent, and it's what we think we are worthy of. Kaya naiirita ako
Yeah.
dun sa mga tumatawad na parang nakikipag-bargain sa sa Tiangge na parang madali lang naman 'yun. Madali pala ba't di ko gumawa? 'Di ba? So go Hans.
Well, for me kasi, a lot of photographers, they base their prices parang usually sila based on time. Like siguro they give like the normal standard working hours. Like I'll shoot your products within 8 hours for this price. It can range from 10 to 20 to 30, depending also where it's gonna be used. If it's a web or if it's in print as menus or as a billboard. And ako, I never really like pricing based on time because it tends to make people rush. It tends
Yeah.
to make people parang hurry. So ako, what I do is I price usually per item or per layout, depending on what is needed and where it's going to be used. And this can range from like 1.5 and above. So that's usually
Okay.
that's usually how I price.
Okay, Hans, invite them to your social media handles. Where
Ah,
can they find you?
well, you can follow me on Facebook. My page on Facebook is Hans Fausto Image in Motion, or you can go to my personal Instagram account at Hansus. That's Hansus. Yeah.
Shucks, mali yung tinatag ko.
Allah.
Na Hans Fausto, Tokyo Tales, parang
Ayun,
ganun.
Tokyo Tells is also mine, pero
Ah,
it's
okay.
a little parang side project I did when traveling was still okay pa.
Okay, okay. At least, alright.
At
So,
least ako pa rin.
Hans Fausto, Image in Motion on Facebook,
Yeah, and then
and
Hansus
Hans.
on Instagram.
Alright. How about you, Chichi?
Okay. So I think I also do the same like how Han says.
Yeah,
On that range. It really just depends on how the product or how the image needs to be produced. Like if
yeah,
it's something is it's on print or in just social media, then the everything changes kasi because of
hala, nagiging choppy si Chichi.
Nawala si Chichi.
Oh
Alright, but we're
no.
gonna wait for her. So, Hans, what do you think about Chichi's work?
Grabe, I love her
Astounding,
work.
no? Galing, no?
Grabe. Like, the first time I met her, when I saw her work,
Okay.
parang, wow. Nandiyan na pala siya. Kaya,
Hi.
Now, we were just talking about
Sorry,
binabackstab ka lang
Hans's
namin.
opinion of your work.
I mean, oh, oh,
Okay,
okay.
so go ahead,
Sorry. I
continue.
think it's my net. Okay. Yun. So I was talking about pandemic. So with pandemic, I have been helping a lot of social media, small medium enterprises to also I have prices are like half or 40 50 to 60% less, and it's at around 700 to 800 per layout, and that's already with what do you call that? It's already with props and food styling.
Yeah.
So
Complete ano na.
it needs to be, of course, you have to be a small medium enterprise. Yes, it's a complete package. In the real setting, you won't get even this. So imagine na lang how small it is now, just because I want to, of course, help the industry survive this. So that's one. And yeah, so you can follow me for, I also do food reviews, sort of. I only post the food that I like, that I have tried in my social media pages. So that's Happy Tummy Travels.
I'm a fan!
If I don't post it, oh my gosh, grabe. If I don't post it, for sure hindi masarap. Yes, that's how honest I am. Pero I don't post it. So at least, 'di ba, hindi naman na-bash yung
Hindi na siya
Hindi na
shame.
kailangan alamin.
yeah, so hindi na lang natin kailangan alamin. So, yun. So, I do that too. So, what else pa ba? Yeah, if you want a story about your brand to help you, I do that too. So I do prop styling, styling, and then art directing for food.
Oh,
So
wow.
to help you also produce the brand together with a photographer. So I don't normally work my own. So I normally, yeah, si Hans or whoever you want, I can recommend naman normally a set of photographers that I have been working with also. So to also, help everyone in the industry, not just the food industry, but also our creative industry, because we're also one of the affected, right, Hans?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes,
True.
and we're just also, I mean, helping each other.
With that, Hans, Chichi, thank you very much. I really enjoyed our conversation this afternoon. I'm sure our
Thank you,
audience has
Thank you
learned
so
a lot
Chef.
of
much.
tricks and tips hopefully we can still invite you in future episodes
Definitely.
of Yes Chef Balitang
Sure.
Kusinero Worldwide. Maraming
Sure. Let
salamat.
me know.
Magbabalik po tayo dito sa ating programa.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Ayun, parang ayaw yata tayong
Oo nga eh.
commercial. Answer, no more commercials. Okay. All right. So, let's go to the next our next episode, not next segment, which is Cousin Hero Spotlight. Do we have a video to show? All right, we are going to reserve our Cousin Hero Spotlight on the next episode para meron tayong more time to do that. This is Yes Chef Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. See you next Sunday. Bye, everyone.
Kusinero ka ba? May food business ka ba? Budding culinarian? O foodie na mahilig sa food updates na mayroong wonderful kusina life? Nasaan ka man sa mundo? Basta tungkol sa pagkain at buhay kusinero, kita-kits tayo, mga food buddies tuwing linggo. Yes, Chef! Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Kasama ang ating Chief Kusinero on air na si Chef Gelo Guison at Singer Kusinera Chef Chuser Quidlat mula sa Hotel and Restaurant Chefs Association of the Philippines. Yes, Chef! Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Tuwing linggo, alas 3:30 ng hapon, Philippine Time. Yes, Chef! Balitang Kusinero Worldwide. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide. Walang kasing saya ang Paskong Pinoy. Dumaan man ang problema at pandemya, kayang-kayang lampasan basta't nagdadamayan at nagmamahalan.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Tuloy na tuloy pa rin ang Pasko dito sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits o Pinoy panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man ito'y mapapakinggan. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.